You too can have horrible, terrifying nightmares like Joaquin Phoenix from the comfort of your own bed. So, news for you. We did not have news on Tuesday. We hope you were able to join us for our live Beau Is Afraid conversation, though. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
So many great folks came out for that and really made me rethink what I thought I knew about the film and how I felt about the film. So thank you for coming out and sharing all your thoughts. We'll be back at it again on Wednesday, May 10th at noon Pacific. Another live spoiler chat, this time for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is in theaters this weekend, is going to be huge. A lot happens. A lot of very momentous things happen in this movie.
Yep.
And so we're going to want to talk about that quite a bit. So
I went to the movies last night to see Love Again, and it was packed because of Guardians.
My theater was not packed. My theater was very quiet.
Oh, my Love Again theater was quite empty, but I'm saying that the theater in general, though, had tons of people there to see Guardians.
I'm sure the Grove was a madhouse.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
Yeah. My little neighborhood theater was not a madhouse.
And people were buying the $50 Rocket Raccoon popcorn tin.
Oh, I was not aware this sort of thing existed.
AMC, I don't know if it's just an AMC exclusive or other chains have it as well, but it's this like popcorn tin with a little Rocket Raccoon figure. And I saw it in the little, display thing above the concession stand. It's like, who the hell is paying $50 for that? And then to the dude, two people ahead of me, is the dude paying for that? So I'm like, all right, well, good on you, AMC. I'm sure you're going to sell out by the end of the weekend.
Does it insult you while you're eating popcorn? Because only then would I want it.
No, the movie does that.
I have to check back for our review. Yes. So the Writers Guild strike is on. This is something we knew was coming, and it began, like midnight, May 1st. So we are now in day 4 of the strike. And outside of Warner Brothers, Disney, Paramount, Netflix, one of the folks who chimed in for our live Beau Is Afraid conversation was watching us on his phone while he was picketing outside of Netflix in New York.
Yes.
So this is happening out there.
A couple of writers reported almost that a car tried to hit them outside of Universal.
Oh.
Like literally sped up when they were in the crosswalk and hit them. They were not injured, thankfully, and like flipped them off as he went. So that's happening.
Wow. So Alonso, remind us all again what they are striking for.
Okay, so basically, there's a number of things. A lot of writers are finding it hard to earn a living wage, like adjusted for inflation. They're making less than they were a decade ago. You have shows doing these mini rooms where like only a few writers come in and do kind of a layout of a series before it starts, before they hire in a full staff. You have the studios not wanting to talk at all or negotiate at all on the subject of AI being used to write or finish scripts, or to initiate scripts that then writers would come in and make sound like a human being actually did them. There's the issue of residuals for streaming is the big thing. They really it was still sort of a new technology the last time that there was a potential strike, or the last time they had a contract with the producers, with the AMPTP, but now obviously that's a much bigger piece of the pie. Because of streaming, you have shows getting rerun less frequently on network TV, which is where the current residuals in a lot of places come from. And, ultimately you have like your David Zaslavs and big top of the chain moguls taking home these massive salaries, while writers from whom all things flow are getting screwed over. And so, everything does start with the writers. It begins with the word, and they deserve a better deal. And that's what they're fighting for.
Yeah, the landscape has changed so much just in the past few years. I mean, just since the pandemic happened, because of the way we consume media differently, and so it's being created differently. And so, the pay has to change with that. The working conditions have to change with that. So, last time in 2007, when they had their last strike, that lasted a while, and that hurts people's income, but it also hurts like the periphery of, the places around Paramount, where people go get lunch, places around Sony where they go and run errands or whatever. So it impacts the whole city's economy all over the place in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And it's, I think you see creatively, it was difficult for a lot of shows to bounce back because they sort of abruptly had to stop in the middle of the season and then were off the air for a long time. And then by the time they came back, they had sort of lost their momentum. I know, like, I was close to people who were involved with Pushing Daisies, and that was a show that never really quite snapped back after the strike ended. And so, it just kind of throws a wrench into things. And the longer it lasts, obviously, the more it's going to start impacting like TV, movies, apparently less so, because a lot of, there's such a long production period. Although if studios find themselves rushing things back into production after the strike, that can lead to movies that don't work really well because they haven't gone through the kind of development they normally would have gotten. So we'll see how it goes.
We will keep following this. We hope for a speedy conclusion, that everyone gets back to work.
Yes, but we support the WGA.
Completely. We are with you. Solidarity. Carrie Fisher got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame posthumously on May the 4th, on Star Wars Day. And her daughter, Billie Lourd, was there to help commemorate it. Mark Hamill was there. So seems overdue that she would have it, but she's on the same block with Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill, I think.
Well, I think that all the stars now are on the same block. Like, it used to be like, if you know the Walk of Fame, you know that it sort of extends past, like, it'll go east of Highland and it'll go south of Hollywood and stuff. But pretty much now, any new star that happens, it's all concentrated on that block where the El Capitan Theater is and where the the Dolby Theater is. And so I think that's where all the new stars happen.
The Cinerama Dome is probably not going to reopen now until like 2024.
Yes.
I think there was some hope late last year because there was a sign outside of it, like a public notice thing, that they wanted to sell alcohol. And so there was hope that it might happen this year. But I guess that and again, I don't know who they is. I don't know who even owns it anymore.
It's some development company. It starts with a D. It just flew out of my head the second you asked me. But if you go and read like the Deadline article about this, they talk about the company that owns it. And presumably they also own like the entire ArcLight complex as well. And so I'm hoping that if they're going to reopen the Dome, they're also going to bring back that, that multiplex under whatever name it's now going to be called, but we'll just have to see.
Decorion.
That's it.
Is the name of the company that owns it. Right. So they're taking a long time to refurbish it, is what they're saying. It is the largest movie screen in the world. And of course,
it really?
is,
wow.
According to the story I read.
Okay.
And it's just a famous place. And it's just an incredibly cool building architecturally. So, and I think we would all love to have the ArcLight come back soon.
Absolutely. And I you definitely, and I think it comes up in the Deadline piece as well, that it's been difficult for kind of, indie art house films that would traditionally launch at the ArcLight, like a lot of the movies that sort of are being set up for awards where they would open on one screen in New York and one screen in LA. That one screen in LA was the ArcLight, and so they've been, now with like the Sunset 5 is closed for a few months, like trying to figure out where those movies go and where they're going to sort of find their audience has been a real challenge for distributors.
Jamie Foxx is still in the hospital, but he posted a thing on Instagram saying that he appreciates all the love and he's feeling blessed. We still don't know what it is that he is ailing from.
Nope.
We don't know what he's being treated for. Everyone is being understandably private about it, but it has been like weeks now.
Yeah, I mean, we first talked about this several weeks ago.
Yeah. So again, sending all good thoughts to him. We hope he is better very, very soon. A jury in New York says that Ed Sheeran did not steal from Marvin Gaye's "Let's Get It On" with the song "Thinking Out Loud."
Oh, okay.
They do. Isn't a little similar, but so many songs sound a little similar, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think mathematically there's only so many combinations that you can come up with. There's a lot of songs that vaguely resemble or call to mind, but they aren't necessarily, actionably, borrowing from them.
So one of the things so it's the songwriter's estate that was suing over this. And Ed Sheeran himself took the stand with his guitar and played himself singing the song. And one of the pieces of evidence they used against him was that he would mash up his own song with "Let's Get It On." And so they're like, huh? See, look how similar they are. And he was actually kind of angry. Like, he's known as sort of a nice guy, and he was actually kind of defiant and angry about this. So he performed on the witness stand. So that was a treat, a little mini acoustic concert for the jurors there. And then, speaking of Beau Is Afraid, A24 is selling silk jammies. You too can have horrible, terrifying nightmares like Joaquin Phoenix from the comfort of your own bed in your A24 Beau Is Afraid embroidered silk jammies. They're $80.
Yeah, and they're embroidered with Beau, by the way.
With
you can't
Beau.
personalize
We're all Beau.
them.
You're Beau. I am Beau.
You know, if I can't think of a movie that's like the opposite of aspirational, the way that Beau Is Afraid is. So I don't know why you would want to cosplay as that character. But, you know, look, A24, they know how to market stuff. I bought their zine about, you know, ads from old Cannes film festivals for movies that wound up never existing. Do you know about this phenomenon?
No.
Okay, so back in the 80s, Golan and Globus were the kings of this, the Canon film guys. They would take out full-page ads in Variety announcing that they were going to do, you know, like the one I always think of is a remake of Born Yesterday with Whoopi Goldberg and Walter Matthau. Did they have any of those pieces put together? No. But they put the ad out thinking if they could get enough interest from foreign buyers, they would then make that movie. But then if they didn't, they wouldn't. And so a lot of times you go back and you see these ads for things that just, you know, David Cronenberg's Frankenstein, for instance, you know, like sounds like a great idea.
I want to see that.
Never happened.
It's the tail wagging the dog.
Exactly.
Anyway, if you want to pretend that you're waking up in Nathan Lane and Amy Ryan's house in your own embroidered silk jammies, now you can.